I wasn't expecting the call. Not from her mother, anyway. Not on a Tuesday evening in March when I was sitting on my couch, nursing a beer and scrolling through work emails I'd ignored all day. "Is this David?" The voice on the other end was warm but direct, with an accent that reminded me of Sunday dinners and homemade pasta. "Yes, this is David. Who's calling?" "This is Margaret. I'm Emma's mother. I got your number from her workplace directory." "I hope that's not strange." My stomach dropped. Emma. I hadn't heard that name spoken aloud in months, though I'd typed it 1,000 times in my head. Emma, who worked in the marketing department. Emma, who I'd somehow managed to help with a project 3 months ago, and who had smiled at me in the hallway exactly twice since then. Emma, who I'd convinced myself I'd forgotten about. "Hi, Margaret," I said carefully. "Is everything okay? Is Emma all right?" There was a pause. I heard her breathing on the other end, and I imagined her gathering courage the way people do before saying something they know will be awkward. "Emma is wonderful. She's brilliant, actually. Beautiful. And completely alone, which is, well, it's become a problem in our family. My mother keeps asking when she's getting married. My sister has started setting her up with men from her church. It's driving her crazy, and honestly, it's driving me crazy listening to her complain about it." I didn't know what to say. I still wasn't sure why Emma's mother was calling me about her daughter's non-existent romantic life. "Margaret, I'm not sure. I've heard good things about you from Emma," she interrupted. "She mentioned you helped her with work. Said you were kind, patient, that you listened when she talked about her frustrations with the company. That's rare, you know. Most people at her age just pretend to care." My heart was beating faster now. Emma had mentioned me positively. "I appreciate that," I said slowly. "But I'm still not sure what you're asking." "I'm asking if you'd be willing to come to dinner. This Sunday. My house. It would be casual. Just you, me, Emma, and her father. No pressure. No setup. Just a meal between families." The relief I felt was immediate and confusing. She wasn't asking me to date her daughter. She was just asking me to dinner. Simple. Manageable. Except it wasn't simple at all, because Emma would be there, and I'd have to sit across from her and pretend I hadn't spent the last 3 months replaying our conversations in my head. "Okay," I heard myself say. "I'd like that." Sunday came slowly and then too fast. I must have changed my shirt 5 times. I drove to their house twice before actually parking and getting out of the car. The house was exactly what I'd imagined. A 1970s colonial with a well-maintained garden and a mailbox with their name painted on it in careful letters. There was a basketball hoop in the driveway with a deflated ball beneath it. Margaret answered the door in an apron, flour on her cheek, and immediately pulled me into a hug like I was family. Her husband, Thomas, shook my hand firmly and led me to the kitchen where the smell of roasting chicken and rosemary made my mouth water. And then Emma walked in from the living room, and everything else faded out. She was wearing a soft blue sweater that made her eyes look impossibly green. Her dark hair was loose around her shoulders. She stopped when she saw me, and I watched her process what was happening. "David." She looked at her mother, then back at me, and I could see the exact moment she understood. "Mom, what did you do?" "I invited David to dinner," Margaret said simply, stirring something on the stove. "He helped you with the Henderson account, remember? I thought it would be nice." Emma's face flushed. She looked genuinely mortified, and I felt terrible for her. The last thing she probably wanted was her mother playing matchmaker with some guy from work. "I'm sorry," she said to me quietly. I didn't know she was going to do this." "It's okay," I said, and I meant it. I was happy to be invited. The dinner was awkward. Not terrible, but uncertain. Margaret kept asking me questions about my job, my family, my hobbies. Thomas told stories about his work as an engineer. Emma was quiet, pushing food around her plate, clearly embarrassed. I caught her looking at me a few times, quick glances that she looked away from immediately when I met her eyes. It wasn't until after dessert, when Margaret and Thomas retreated to the living room to watch something on television, that Emma and I found ourselves alone in the kitchen. "I'm really sorry," she said, loading plates into the dishwasher. My mother means well, but she doesn't understand that you can't just manufacture connection like that. It doesn't work that way. I know, I said. And then, before I could stop myself, but I'm not complaining about the invitation. She paused, a dish halfway into the rack. She didn't look at me. What does that mean? She asked quietly. It means I've wanted an excuse to see you outside of work for a while now. Your mother just provided it. Emma finally looked at me. There was something vulnerable in her expression, a kind of careful hope mixed with caution. That's not fair, she said softly. You can't just say something like that. Why not? Because I like you, she said, and the words came out in a rush, like she'd been holding them in and they burst out without permission. I've liked you since that day you helped me with the Henderson account and actually listened when I talked about the strategy. And that's complicated. And I didn't ask for my mother to involve you in some matchmaking scheme because she thinks I need to get married. I set down the plate I'd been holding. Emma, I didn't come here tonight because your mother called me. I came because she gave me a reason to see you. And yes, I was nervous about it. Yes, this dinner was weird. But I'm sitting here right now, and you're telling me you like me, and that's the opposite of complicated. She wrapped her arms around herself. You say that now. But this is real life. Not some movie. I have my family putting pressure on me to get married. I'm dealing with stuff at work. I'm not easy to be with, David. I'm ambitious, and I'm stubborn, and I have so much going on that sometimes I forget to call my friends back. Okay, I said. And I don't want you to like me because you feel obligated or because my mother set this up. I want you to actually choose this. Choose me. Not because it's convenient or because you feel sorry for me. I stepped closer, slowly, giving her time to back away if she wanted to. She didn't. Emma, I've been watching you for 3 months. I helped you with that project because I wanted an excuse to spend time with you. I made sure to see you in the hallway. I remembered how you take your coffee because you mentioned it once. That's not obligation. That's choice. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing this dinner, this awkwardness, your family, whatever comes next. I'm choosing you. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, very quietly, I'm scared. Of what? Of getting hurt. Of being wrong about you. Of wanting something this badly and having it not work out. Those are all valid things to be scared of, I said. But being scared doesn't mean you shouldn't try. It just means it matters. She looked up at me, and I could see tears in her eyes. Not sad tears, but the kind that come from feeling something deeply. I think I need to take this slow, she said. I think we need to actually get to know each other. Properly. Not through my mother, not at work. Just actually see each other. I can do slow, I said. I've been doing slow for 3 months. I can do it for as long as you need. She smiled then, really smiled, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd seen in a long time. 6 months later, I was sitting in that same kitchen, but everything was different. Emma and I had gone on real dates. We'd had difficult conversations. We'd learned each other's families and histories and fears. We'd built something genuine, brick by brick, without rushing. Her mother called one afternoon while we were cooking dinner together at my apartment. "Hi, David," Margaret said warmly. "I just wanted to check in. How are you treating my daughter?" I looked at Emma, who was laughing at something, wearing one of my shirts over her clothes, flower in her hair. She was beautiful and complicated and real. "Margaret," I said, "I'm doing my best every single day. And she's doing the same for me." "Good," Margaret said. "That's all a mother can ask for. That's all anyone can really ask for." When I hung up, Emma asked what her mother wanted. I told her she was just checking in. But really, Margaret had been checking on something she'd somehow known was possible, that her awkward matchmaking scheme would lead to something real. Sometimes the people who love us see what we can't yet see in ourselves. Sometimes they push us toward the people we need to meet, even if we resist at first. And sometimes, if we're lucky, we end up building something beautiful with the person who was there all along, waiting for us to finally see them. I saw Emma now. And she saw me. And that made all the difference. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more heartfelt tales, and drop a comment letting us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Thanks for being part of the Unscripted Stories community.